Our story begins on the Korean island of Jeju. A photographer is telling a young couple about a local myth. People say demons used to plague the earth a long time ago, until they were trapped by a god under Jeju Island. The god's 46 children were turned into stone statues,
왠지 묘한 기운이 느껴지지 않아?
forever guarding the gates of hell. But they're not doing such a great job, as we see two statues crack and collapse. A dark smoke penetrates the young couple and they become possessed. Thousands of miles away, the disturbance is felt by a group of Italian priests. They decide to put their top-notch exorcist, Father Johann, on the job. Through a set of illustrations, they tell him about a woman named Wang Jiang who was supposed to save the world once. She was murdered before she could complete her mission, but rumor has it that she has reincarnated. Father Johann is then sent to the island to investigate this whole story. Meanwhile, in Seoul, Won Mi-ho has very different problems. She is the only child of the CEO of a huge corporation, the Daehang Group. With the help of Butler Chang and Secretary Kang, she must prove herself worthy of her father's legacy. But sadly, an unlucky encounter with a couple of swindlers gets caught on camera. The video of Mi-ho assaulting one of them goes viral, and the company's stocks go down fast. Her father wants to send her abroad to appease the public, but Chang offers another solution. Mi-ho will volunteer at Tamra High School on Jeju Island. Right after she arrives, the bride demon attacks her in the airport parking lot. A stylish dude dressed in black comes out of nowhere to save her, but then vanishes without a word. Sometime later, we see that guy talking to an old lady. His name is Ban, and he's actually a half-demon. We're taken back to ancient Jeju, when Ban was just a little boy. The ruthless leader, Zhang, captured a bunch of children to be raised as demon slayers. He injected them with demon blood, but only 2 boys survived the procedure, Ban and Gungtan. The old lady was there too. Her name is Baekju. She was against leader Zhang's cruelty but didn't have a better idea to fight the demons, so she had to let him be. At Tamra High, Mi-ho meets her old childhood friend, Soo-jin, and things start to look better on this eerie island. But later that day, she finds out that Secretary Kang was involved in the incident that got her kicked out. Confronted by her, he confesses he's been helping her relatives take her down. Mi-ho walks away from his leaving the car as his severance pay. But she doesn't get very far before strange sounds are heard. Kang's been taken by a demon, and now he's trying to take her life. Then we see that Butler Chang also has his secrets. He welcomes Father Johann to their house and says he'll introduce him as a relative. Mi-ho can't suspect anything until she's ready to accept she's the reincarnation of Won Jiang. The young priest is excited to meet the savior, but right now she is the one who needs some saving. Ban comes again, getting rid of the demon in his superhero style. Mi-ho tries to get some answers from him, but he's not much of a talker. All he says is that this is her fate, and these creatures are going to keep coming after her no matter where she goes. Fighting back is her only chance. The next day, he comes by her house to give her more advice. But here is where the ancient myths clash with the modern corporate world. Mi-ho wants to hire him as a bodyguard, and she has the contract ready. He's totally appalled by the idea of being bossed around, but when she falls asleep, he stays by her bed all night, watching over her. In the morning, she finds the contract is signed. That puts her in a great mood, but Chang ruins it with a reminder that she starts work today. Almost as payback for that, she tells him about the new bodyguard who will be living there with them. Chang's initial worries turn to shock when he sees Ban, the legendary demon slayer. Speaking of demons, working as a teacher is not as simple as Mi-ho thought. The students keep interrupting her to ask stuff like how much money she has or if she's dated celebrities. One of the kids is Yeom-ji, a schoolgirl who's been adopted by Baekju as a grandchild. She leaves class earlier to visit her friend Soo-ryun, who's having serious trouble with an abusive boyfriend. Yeom-ji talks to Mi-ho about it and asks for help, but she tells her to call the police or go bother a real teacher. So the only thing Yeom-ji can think of is Benjul, the spirit of the forest. She tells Soo-ryun about it, and the poor girl goes to the sacred tree at night to beg Benjul for assistance. At the fortress, Mi-ho is startled by Johann. Butler Chang apologizes for not telling her about his nephew coming. They get totally wasted over dinner and she whines about her life. Not so much about the demonic attacks though. She complains that Ban is always so cold and distant. In the morning, she's shocked to find out Johan is a priest and immediately regrets all the stuff she shared. Then she drives to school and almost runs over Yeomji. The girl is desperate about her friend because the Benjul thing didn't go as planned. Miho then takes Father Johan to visit Su Ryun. They start to perform an exorcism, but all of a sudden her room melts into a magical forest. They see now what went wrong. Su Ryun didn't ask the spirit to relieve her pain. She asked for revenge against the boyfriend, offering her own body as payment. The angry trees start to come for Miho as well, so we already know whose knife comes flying like a bullet. Ban is there to protect her, but he says he can't save Su Ryun. This was her decision, and Benjul demands a price. In a very mature response to that, Miho calls him a chicken.
겁쟁이.
And it totally works. He takes it personally and fights Benjul while Miho talks to the girl and apologizes for not helping earlier. Once it's all over and everyone is safe again, Miho is back at the school. Her friend Sujin introduces her to Baekyu, Yeomji's grandmother and one of the town elders. When she's leaving, Miho catches the weirdest moment. She sees that Ban and the old lady seem to be close friends. It's the first time he seems to be playful and relaxed around anyone. At night, she gives Ban a phone in the hope to make it easier to contact him. He scoffs to see her number saved as Master.
싫으면 저장만 바꾸시든.
She is clearly trying to establish her authority as his boss, despite having a major crush on him. But soon she'll have much more to worry about. Father Johan starts to test Ban to make sure it's safe to have him around. Miho walks in and finds out about his true nature. But even when the demon half is in charge, he can't bring himself to harm her. Feeling guilty and ashamed, Ban vanishes as usual. This time, however, Miho has his phone's GPS to help, and off she goes, climbing a rocky mountain with a first aid kit to see if he's okay. Yeah, he's half demon, so what? He has lots of charm and it's all that matters. Most girls at Tamra High have a similar opinion about Johan. That's why he needs to dress like a priest to visit the school. And despite the fact she's getting married in a week, Sujin is no different from her students.
네.
When they get back home, Johan gets distressed after a phone call. Chang explains that he got separated from his brother when they were kids, and he's been trying to find him, with no luck so far. At Baek's restaurant, a bunch of old ladies are talking about the recent gory news. A series of weird murders are happening on the island. Ban is sitting near them and overhears the description of the crimes. He knows who did it, his own long-lost brother, Gungtan. A few days later, Miho has good news for Johan. Using her company's resources, she has easily located his older brother. While he goes to see him, she talks to Soon-ji on the phone. Excited about the upcoming wedding, she has a thank you gift for Miho's fancy presents. She says her fiancé is driving there right now to give it to her. Sadly, he never makes it to the mansion. Gungtan gets to him first, and it's a horrible present he drops at Miho's yard. Meanwhile, Johan has an emotional reunion with his brother, Chan-hee. Upset at his living conditions, he decides to bring him to Miho's house. But he doesn't know what happened to Chan-hee a few days ago. He has been turned into a demon by Gungtan, and he's actually the one committing the murders. He tries to attack Miho at the first chance, but Ban stops him. Johan is devastated to learn his brother is now a demon. Now, Miho is deeply distressed by what happened to Soon-ji, and she seeks Ban's company for comfort. He finally tells her the whole story. She is the vessel for the saint Wanjiang, who must return to finish the barrier between worlds. The demons are trying to get to her before she is fully awake. Trying to understand more, Miho visits Baekju. She confirms it all. The stone barrier is too weak to hold the demons under the island. Wanjiang is humanity's last hope. Father Johan tries to exorcise the demon from his brother, but they are too intertwined now. He begs for Miho's help and she tries, but this was just a trick to get her close enough. Chan-hee goes full demon and breaks free, attacking Miho. Yohan is forced to slay the demon, who was once his own brother. Elsewhere on the island, Gungtan sits on a throne among impoverished people who worship him, and there's someone sitting right beside him, Yeomji, the schoolgirl who lives with Baekju. Recruited by him years ago, she's been acting like a spy to help on his plan. Gungtan wants revenge for what happened in ancient Jeju. When Wanjiang was a little girl, she tried to help the two boys enslaved by leader Zhang, but there wasn't much she could do at the time. Ban kept waiting on her promise to come back and save them, while Gungtan started to nurture a deep hatred for all humans. When Wanjiang came back with enough power to create a permanent barrier, she asked leader Zhang to free them both. He pretended to agree, but he had other plans for the boys. He put them in a cage and set it on fire, underestimating the strength of his pupils. When they broke free, Ban also wanted justice for his lost childhood, but Gungtan was just blinded by revenge. He didn't want a barrier to protect the people who made him miserable, so he had to take care of Wanjiang. Ban tried to save her, but Guntang moved and ended up hitting the savior instead. Baekju had no choice then. She turned her 46 children into stone statues to hold the gate until the savior could return. Back to the present day, Miho is now fully embracing her fate. She decides to stay at Baekju's place to learn and train until she can be of some help. Baekju tells her to absorb the energy from nature. She says the power to create a protective barrier lies inside the magic marble, something that was inside Wanjiang and that is now inside Miho. But she must learn how to reach the magic marble to unlock its power. During this training, Baekju had sent Yeomji to a friend, but now she's back earlier than expected. At the same time, they feel an odd energy coming to the hills. It's Gungtan, lurking in the woods and preparing to attack Miho. Both Ban and Yohan come running, but it's her own energy blast that scares him away. After the incident, Baekju sends the trio back home for now. She warns Ban that he should not get too attached because Miho will disappear when Wanjiang returns. Furious at his own failure, Gungtan decides to release a special demon. Gun Sun Se is an evil spirit that can turn your mind against yourself. It splits into many smoke serpents and goes right to Tamra High, terrorizing the students. Then it crosses through Su Ryun's body. Under demonic control, she jumps off the school roof. Yeomji sees it happening and it's devastated to lose her friend. Gungtan says he chose her exactly because she was special. Gan Sun Se keeps causing trouble at the school and eventually gets to Miho. Overwhelmed by so many possessed kids, Father Yohan decides to work smart. By blessing the water on the spot, he's ready to hose them all down. They try to run from the collective exorcism, but Ban conjures a glass-like wall to trap them under the holy shower. Not happy about the second failure, Gungtan tells Yeomji she must find the remaining stone children really fast, or he'll have to ask Baekju himself. The girl is terrified at what that could mean, and we can see she starts to regret having joined him at all. Still possessed by Gun Sun Se, Miho starts to turn against her mentor. Chang confesses he's been lying to her since she was a child, and his true purpose has always been to enable the return of Wanjiang. Finding herself surrounded by lifelong lies and impossible expectations, Miho jumps off the balcony. Ban is there to catch her again, but it's Wanjiang she sees in his face. Finally, all the memories from her past life come back. She panics to see that it doesn't make her feel any different. She still can't access the magic marble inside her, and that may mean she never will. Gungtan is watching her cry behind his own glass wall, and he takes the opportunity to attack. He's the only one who's a match for Ban, who gets very hurt but manages to take Miho to a cave near the hills. Now, Gungtan is beside himself, trashing his place and attacking his own people. Yeomji runs to warn Baekju about the danger and confesses everything. The old lady says she already knew. She gave herself the mission to mend the girl's broken heart as punishment for her own sins. Outside the cave, Miho's practice seems more fruitful now. She can make stones levitate and create rings of light as Wan Jiang did, to her surprise. Ban asks her to stop. He doesn't want her to create the protective barrier anymore because if she does, she'll disappear. Ban is no longer waiting for her to give room to the beloved Wan Jiang. He's been protecting Miho because he loves her the way she is. At Gung Tan's den, he has captured Yeomji to lure Baekju.
도망가.
Johan is there to fight him, but he's not strong enough. His plan works, and he gets the location of every stone child. Then, he comes back and takes the old lady's life anyway, as she is actually an ancient god that doesn't go unnoticed. Ban locks Miho behind the glass wall and runs to save Baekju, but it's too late. Then, his mind is pulled to a heaven-like place to talk to Baekju. Apart from their sad goodbyes, she wants to warn him about something. When Wan Jiang first died, a speck of the magic marble broke off, and it got transferred to Ban. This is why he has kept his humanity when Gung Tan couldn't. But this is also why Miho can't finish the job. To make the marble whole again, he must transfer the speck back to her. But she warns that his demon self will take over and he'll be sealed under the island with all the others once the barrier is complete. At the same time they're having this talk, Wan Jiang appears to Miho to tell her the same thing. She refuses to do that to Ban and insists she can finish the barrier on her own. As she walks towards the ancient altar, huge demons come to stop her. They seem to explode before reaching her. But then we see it's Father Chang who's shooting silver bullets. Gung Tan shows up, closely followed by Ban and Father Johan. Miho asks Ban to protect her while she conjures up the barrier. He says, sure, our contract is still valid. But as it gets harder and harder to hold off the demons, and she seems to be taking forever, Ban makes his decision. With a big, nice hug, he sends the magic speck back to Miho's marble, ignoring her desperate cries in protest. Ban starts to put on the demon face, but he's still fighting against Gung Tan when Miho finishes the barrier. A giant stone statue emerges from the sea, connecting all the dots over the island and forming a protective dome. Gung Tan is sucked back to hell, and all the other demons start to vanish, including Ban. And this is the end. This was a recap of the 2023 show Island by Studio Dragon, starring Nam Gil Kim and Lee Da-hee. So which character do you think had the toughest choices to make? Let us know in the comments below with #CinemaRecap. Until next time.